Now, we talk about a lot of gear on this channel, and I would consider myself as more of a hobbyist at this point in my creative career. And for those of you who are in the same boat, you know how expensive this hobby can get. Hi everyone, if you're new to my channel, my name is Paula, and today I wanted to sit down and chat with you all from one enthusiast to another and share with you what I consider to be my everyday carry for travel, things that stay at home or in my studio, as well as some things that are collecting more dust than others. We're gonna take some trips down memory lane today and give you a history with all of this gear. So pull up a chair and grab your favorite beverage and let's begin. We're gonna do a speed round of all of the gear that I have since we have a lot to go through. Starting off with the cameras, my primary camera is actually the Sony a7S III, which is what we're filming with right now. What I really love about the Sony though is that it has dual native ISO and has really great video quality. As you guys know, the a7S III is not built for photography, so it does not take the best photos. The fact that it was dual native ISO, as someone who moved from Seattle, we actually had to rely quite a bit on exposing our videos just because it was usually darker, whether it was cloudy or rainy. And that was a time that I was looking for something that allowed me to do that without trying to overexpose it in edit. Just 2 years later, Brian was also starting to get into video creating at this point, and so he wanted to have his own full frame camera, which is now one of my backup cameras, which is the Canon R6 Mark II. So he found it to be a great option for him to grow his skills with. And the great thing about the R6 is that it is a hybrid camera for both photo and video. I did a full video on the R6 Mark II. If you guys are interested in hearing what I thought about it, I will link it down in the description below. And the last camera I have on the list is a tried and true favorite of mine personally, and that is the Canon EOS R8. The R8 has been my latest acquisition, and that has been the one that I've actually used the most. And that is simply because of its small form factor. And I've also done a couple videos on the R8 as well on this channel. But to sum it all up for that camera, it is basically the junior version of the R6, as they have the same sensor in just a smaller body. For anyone who's been a fan of the R6, the R8 is available at a lower price point. For those of you who are a little bit more casual shooters like I am, right now it's actually serving a dual purpose. Other than it being a video camera for me, it is also my webcam right now for my stream setup. We're kind of testing out how to use an actual camera for the stream, and it's been working out really well. Of course, the camera is not complete without the lenses. For the Sony, I'm using the 16-35mm f2.8 G Master lens, and that has been really the only lens that I've used. Nice blurry background with the low aperture, nice focal length for video, whether it's handheld or just on a tripod like it is today. As far as the Canon, I do have 3 different lenses, and that is going to be the Canon 16mm f2.8 RF lens. It is a fixed lens, so it is nice and wide for those of you who may be out vlogging. It's literally so small. Whenever I'm out traveling with it, this has been easy to slap on and have it be a fixed length. Probably the best part about it is the price. I got this for, I believe, $250, and I think it is still that price. Definitely more budget friendly for this lens. The downside to this is that it doesn't have image stabilization, but it is nice and lightweight, so you kind of have to just be careful with your motion. Next up, I have another Canon lens, which is the 15-35mm f2.8 RF lens, and that is typically paired with the R6 thanks to its longer barrel. I feel like that one is a little bit more proportioned in size as well as weight. Obviously you get that nice blurry background with the f2.8, that nice focal length with the zoom up to 35mm, so you can still get those really cinematic shots as well as shooting wide. And last but not least, since the 15-35mm is on the R6, I also had to have one for the R8, and that is the f4 14-35mm lens. So in my last R8 video, I actually shot with the f4 lens. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of shooting in low light, and that really resulted in darker footage. And a lot of you guys have sounded off in the comments saying that that was basically user error for why it didn't perform as well as it could be. And I'm fully aware of that now. That is why I shared that experience. Nonetheless, for most of my use, the f4 lens has been great. It still gives you that nice depth of field for talking head videos, gives you that nice tight cinematic 35mm zoom as well. So for my use case, that exact setup has been perfect. Just try not to use it in low light. just use an f2.8 lens. Seriously. Another really important component to your gear is audio. Now, for my camera audio, I only use 3 different mics. For the smallest form factor, I have the Sony ECM G1 mic. What's nice about that mic is it's just plug and play and is wireless when you're using the Sony. However, it is compatible with other cameras, so I also use that for my Canon cameras. I just have to use the cord that's provided, which is just as easy. For a stepped up version of that little mic, I have the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, which is another crowd favorite. A lot of people have opted for this camera. I feel like this is one of the first professional mics that I've ever owned as well. This gives me, in my opinion, the best voice quality, but of course the downside of it is a little bit larger, and it does have its own battery life, so you do have to make sure that it is charged. However, it only turns on when the camera is turned on, and it turns off obviously if it's not in use. Last but not least, with the mics, I have a love-hate relationship with this mic, also from Rode, and it is the Wireless Go. This is the 1st gen. It was working great, but over time I feel like the sound has definitely decreased in quality. It's either more muffled. I tried plugging it in with another lav mic, which defeats the purpose of it being wireless, but I was hoping that because it has a lav mic, it would transmit better, but obviously it didn't. So that is one of the things that has been collecting dust. Next category that we're gonna talk about is my bags. I'm not sure why I put this here. I figured if we're talking about everyday carry, I might as well tell you what I actually use to carry everything. So these 2 are what I use to carry my gear. First one here is actually just a Canon camera bag that we got from our local camera store here in Vegas, BNC Camera. They were doing their annual road show, I guess, for all the camera brands. I can't remember if we actually got anything, but we were chatting with the Canon representative and they gave us a free shirt and a backpack. Wear it like this. Obviously it has pocket for your camera and lenses, and it has a nice little divider for your contents inside, as well as a front pocket for other miscellaneous items like cords, chargers, extra batteries, that kind of thing. To be honest with you all, this is my personal backpack, and it's big enough to carry my R8 with the f4 lens and the Sony mic, and all that fits in this little backpack here, plus my personal items, cell phone, wallet, all that stuff. I know it's not the most durable and secure, but I know it's going to be on my body because it's literally my purse. In that sense, it is the safest because I won't forget it. Next, we have some accessories, and just a spoiler, these have been a vital addition to my gear. First up, we have the Peak Design wrist strap, which, as the name suggests, is a wrist strap that's attached to your camera. I actually have this on the R6 and the Sony, so those 2 are the heavier cameras that we have, and it just wraps around your wrist, giving you a more secure handle on the camera. Last accessory that I have is my Joby 360 phone mount, and I think this was a separate purchase from one of my tripods, but I underestimated how much I would use it at the time of purchasing this, and it's only like $10, I believe. I'm really happy that I have it because it helps you film landscape or in portrait mode. Last category that I wanted to talk about is my tripods. My main tripod right now is the Joby rangepod tripod. It's a rangepod, as the name suggests, so you can really choose what angle you want to shoot at, whether you want to shoot really, really low to the ground. It can get very, very tall as well. But my favorite part about it is that it has all the levelers. Whether you're looking at it from the top, facing you, you want to make sure that your camera is centered. It even has it for vertical shooting as well. So that has been nice for both my phone and my cameras. Next up, I have my smaller tripods. First one is going to be the pgytech mantispod 2.0. Some of you guys may know when the mantispod came out, it was revolutionary, and then they finally released a 2.0, and that was around the time that I needed a smaller tripod as well when we were doing some traveling. So I decided to pick up the 2.0. Hot take, I don't really like it as much as I thought I would. My main problem with it is, at least for this version, the quick release plate is not super user friendly. It is quick release because you can just release it off of the tripod. However, the plate requires an Allen wrench to be tightened to the camera. I've gotten away with not needing one but I always felt like it wasn't super secure. So now I just got into the habit of always packing an Allen wrench in my backpack every time I'm out traveling with a tripod. And last but certainly not least, the very last tripod that I have is the Joby GorillaPod 3K. The GorillaPod also has a leveler and, in my opinion, a better quick release plate. So here's the GorillaPod. Really all you need to do is to push this little button back here and then it slides right off. And you don't need an Allen wrench to be able to adjust the quick release plate onto the camera. You could just take your fingernail and just twist it. The only downside is obviously it's made of rubber, so it's not as easy to pack with you, but as you can see, it's still pretty slim when it's all compacted together. Both really great tabletop tripods. It just kind of depends on your preference on how you're using them. I think that pretty much wraps up all the gear that we have for creating videos. I would love to know what your guys' thoughts are for any of the gear that we've listed here today. I did acquire these over time. It was definitely a lot of hunting for really good deals. Amazon will sometimes have good sales on a couple of these items, as well as our local camera shops. Even B&H Photo is a great website to look through. Best Buy sometimes runs some specials. So we definitely do try to cut down the price for ourselves before deciding to invest in something. But if you guys like today's video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up down below and subscribe for more tech and gear related videos. Last thing I want to add, for those of you who've made it to this part of the video, I do stream on different platforms, as well as have another channel that features my stream recaps and mostly shorts. So if you ever want to see more content from me and are just curious, or if you catch me live when I'm live streaming, feel free to stop by and say hello. I'd love to see you guys there. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.